welcome back to my YouTube channel, Vibes Precious. Hi guys, into the video weather is showing you guys. Hope the weather is treating you guys okay. So guys, I have a guest in the house.
Bandura.
Yeah, so guys, today we're going to be reacting to why Muslims don't marry non-Muslims. Like, I've really seen like a Christian and a Muslim marrying before, but let me just see the main reason why they don't accept it, guys. Let's just get right into this video.
You are gentlemen, as I see. Everybody here that I look at is a male so far. Now, suppose you went home tonight, every one of these distinguished gentlemen.
Yes.
And all of your daughters chose this day to tell you that they had decided to marry the Jewish boy down the street
Right.
or the Christian boy that was walking around. Young people, often they start all these things. And then how do you speak to them when you say, look, the Jew is my brother, the Christian is my brother, but we don't get married. And then you come back to white doesn't want to marry black, and then everybody passes laws. So intermarriage, or what they decided. What if your son came home and said, I have been a good Muslim for 30 years, but suddenly I have decided to become a Christian? I mean, so what do you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Your second question about marriage. Islam tells us, see, in detail now, whom we can and whom we can't. We follow this biblical injection to the letter, where the Bible says that an idolater or an idolatress thou shalt not marry. Now we uphold that. An idolater and an idolatress thou shalt not marry. So my son falls in love with a Hindu girl. My religion says, no, you can't marry her. No man how beautiful she is. No man how much she allures. What? Is that you can't marry. Now, racially, with the Hindus, most of the Hindus, we are one language group. We have the same racial stock. We carry the same surnames. We enjoy the same dishes. But because of our religious concept, idea of God, my religion says, no, you can't marry an idolater or an idolatress. I can, my religion allows me to marry a Christian woman or a Jewess.
It does allow you to
It does
marry?
allow, yes. It does
I
allow.
didn't know that.
The reason. There's a reasoning behind it. Is look, we are so close. If I marry a Christian, a Jewess, for example, I would be the last man to say anything abusive about any of the Jewish heroes. Moses, David, Solomon, Jesus. We have the highest respect for them. So this wife of mine is Jewess. She will be still at home with me. In other words, I respect Moses, I respect David, Solomon, all the prophets. What I'm going to tell her with her and reason with her is, so come dear, now come a step forward. You have been at a certain level of religious education. Come 2 steps forward. One is to accept Jesus and then accept Muhammad as well. So I'm asking her to come to a higher level of understanding religion. To the Christian woman, in this country, when I said that at first, that look, we are allowed to marry Christian women. So the white men in the audiences, when I delivered talks, they were thinking, say, yeah, I know why. So I said, why? He said, just because we are whites. You think now marrying a white woman is a superior thing to do? I said, no. Even if the Christian woman is an African woman, she is a Hottentot, she is a Bushman, she is Christian, I can marry her. Because again, we are so close. We accept Jesus as one of the mightiest messengers of God. We accept him as the Messiah. We accept his miraculous birth. We accept his many miracles. The only point of real difference between me and my spouse, that Christian lady, would be that I would say, look, he is not God. He is not the begotten Son of God. But everything else, we have a common denominator. We have one with the Jew. We have a common denominator with the Christian. So we said, we can get them, and more easily they can be absorbed in the house of Islam. Because whatever you believe, we believe, plus a step further. But now my daughter can't marry a Hindu man, nor can she marry a Jew, nor can she marry a Christian. Now the Hindu is understood being an idol worshipper. But now you say, what about the Jew and the Christian? I can marry a Jewess and I can marry a Christian woman. Why can't my daughter marry a Jew or a Christian?
Yeah.
Now the reason is that you see the Christian husband of my daughter, he's got no respect for Muhammad. He's going to use an offensive language. He's going to say Muhammad is an imposter.
Why?
Because that's
Not
his training.
necessarily.
No, that's his training. Because as soon as you say that you accept Muhammad as a prophet, you are a Muslim. You see, when you say, I say, look, Muhammad, you will say, look, Muhammad was a great man. Everybody says so. He was a mighty man. You know, he created a nation and an empire and a religion. He is supposed to have left behind a book, like the Quran. So he said, look, I take off my hat to the man. He's the great. And so many people say he was one of the greatest men that ever lived. Michael H. Hart, in his top 100, he puts Muhammad number 1.
Yes.
Jules Masserman, you know, in his book on the Turks, history of
Top
the Turks.
100 men.
Right. In the top 100. Then Jules Masserman, in the history, who are history's great leaders. And Lamartine, in his history of the Turks. He says, if greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and outstanding results are the 3 criteria of human greatness, who could dare to compare any great man in modern history with Muhammad? He's daring people, bring your candidates. So in other words now, from that point of view, the Christian, the Westerner, will be prepared to concede that Muhammad was a great man. But he was an imposter. In other words, he was a false prophet. So that's the biggest barrier now. Because if you accept that he was also a prophet means that God chose him. If God chose Muhammad, now Muhammad tells you that the flesh of the swine thou shalt not eat. Now you can say, look, I like pork chops. You know, all my life I've been enjoying it. He said, look, this man is a prophet of God and is authorized by God to tell you now, don't eat the pig. Don't drink alcohol. No promiscuousness. Don't dance or court or date women. So at every step now, if you believe in this man, that he is a prophet of God, you have to listen to him. It's not just a word saying, I believe he's a prophet. It means nothing. When you say he is a prophet of God, what does it imply? It means that he is chosen by God. Now, if he's chosen by God to guide you, to tell you now, according to your capacity now, that you are not to touch alcohol, you are not to take interest, you're not, whatever he tells you, it becomes binding on you, which you are not prepared to accept. Who? The Jew or the Christian.
Mr. Dida, last time I was...
I understand what he's trying to say. Like, you don't want your child to like marry someone that is out of the culture, because you might find out things might get complicated. But it works out for some people, seriously. Like, it do work out. But me myself, if I'm born to that family, I don't know where I'll go to. Whether I'll go to church, I'll go to mosques. But I just feel that if I just decide on what I want to do, and depending on, I realize that if you're a Christian girl or woman and you marry into a Muslim home, I think you are likely to change your religion. But if it's the other way around, I feel that if you want to, it's cool. But if you don't want to, it's cool. I've actually seen these things happen in real life. But when you enter the Muslim family, you change. Only very few that you just like, okay, I want to move this way, then that's very fine.
It's difficult for you.
Yeah, very difficult,
Very
because
difficult.
they will just want you to like change your religion, and in fact expect you to change your religion. And you yourself might
Majority of the time,
want to do it.
On this case, the lady actually prefers it when they won't stay in the family house. It will just be she and her husband
exactly,
with her kids. Then it will become more easy. But if you're moving into the family house, whereas everybody will
Auntie Aisha, Auntie Alima, all of them are there. You have
it
to
will be
change.
very, very hard for you. To be very, very difficult. Trust me when I
That's
tell you.
just it.
And for me, I feel before you get married to someone, you must have discussed this with the person. The person won't actually see your God as anything. Like the insult, he won't say
Like,
rubbish.
you have respect.
You will have respect. Because, okay, I love my wife. This is the God she's serving. I understand. And she herself will also respect my own God and who I serve.
But
So-
you know that it can actually like turn out bad for the lady when she gets married, and find out that it's not even the man that has a say, but the man's father or the man's mother.
That's why you need to discuss with your partner well. You not just jump into marriage. You study in the environment. You know if it's this kind of person that get controlled. Not like he's being a stubborn person, but if it's someone that can stand on his ground, or if it's a person that is easily influenced by spirit or controlled
You never
by
can
spirit.
tell. Like, you see, we've seen situations of whereby somebody knows somebody for a very long time, marry, and it changes.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like if you want to marry a Christian, you're a Christian, want to marry a Muslim, you're a Muslim, want to marry a Christian, you should have this discussion with your partner. And I've even come across cases whereas your partner will promise you everything, and you eventually things will turn around.
Yeah.
I've come across such story But I won't say I won't advise anybody to marry a Muslim or a Christian. I feel you can get married, but it's always very hard. It's always by
very
the grace
hard.
of God for things to work out, especially when it comes to the kids.
I know,
The
right?
man will be like, I'm the father.
So
My son,
exactly, become a Muslim.
and we
Like
can't even say we're going to share them.
that's the truth. You can't
Or
divide the
else you
children.
give you this kind of situation that, okay, when my daughter or son
I have
turns
a
18.
friend. She goes to both church and mosque.
Exactly, like unless when the child turns 18, then this child will stand for himself, feel herself, and say, okay, I want to go to this religion or I want to go for that religion.
Most
You understand?
times
But
it's just mostly
difficult. Trust
most
me when I tell
times
you.
I feel, especially for African world, it's mostly what the man is believing
Yeah,
in
'cause
that
you
everybody ends up in.
I
If the
know,
man is a
right?
Muslim, it's
Yeah.
if the man is a Christian,
Because
then
they'll be like, I married you into my house.
Yeah, I'm the
I am
man.
the man. Like, I'm the man of the house. Like,
I'm the man
those
of the house, I'm the
words.
man of the house. I also want to be the woman of the house.
Like, but regardless, you just need to have an understanding partner before you make such great decision, because this is a hard one. Trust me when I tell you. You need
I
to
know,
take
right?
your time. You
But
might even
men-
discuss it to your family and they'll be like, what are you saying? No, what are you saying?
Yes, the Bible tell you that it's a lie, that it's not going to change for you. But when you get in there,
Exactly,
you
because they
see
don't
by
know
yourself.
who he is.
That's
And some
just the
people
truth.
who act all night and then change. People change. People change. People
That's
change,
just it.
guys.
So guys, we got to the end of today's reaction. Don't forget to like, first comment, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one. Love you guys so much. Bye.